The gods are the players of the video game itself. They are the ones outside of the cube. They are the ones outside of the cube that holds the virtual universe. So this is the ultimate cube here you're looking at with light and dark split. But this is false light. This is dark. And this is dark appearing as light. This is the ultimate cube. Within this cube, there's cube after cube, inside a cube, inside a cube, or tesseract, or however you want to look at this. I'm not, like I said, a mathematician. Don't care what all the terms are or exactly how this is, because I don't have time to break all that down. She's showing here like a flat disk with a firmament over it. So this is just one virtual inside of all these other virtuals. And in fact, this is the inside of this. She's showing that this is the inside of what's in here, which is a round globe shape, which I think is a ship, and I think it's a moon. And our actual soul body, which is what this is, may be, see if I can make this bigger, or that it'll still stay on the screen here. That may be being held on a planet somewhere. But we don't know the true meaning of moon and planet either. So get the visual out of your head that they gave you of what a moon is or looks like and what a planet is. So these are virtuals inside of virtuals inside of this ultimate cube she's drawn here. These beings are out here outside this whole cube. The ones outside of the cube that holds the virtual universe. Even though there may be cubes inside of cubes, remember, virtuals inside of virtuals, all inside the one cube of the virtual universe. So cubes inside of cubes in here, they're burying us. So this out here where the spark is the place of wholeness I talked about and bliss. Okay, but I haven't been able to get any more information about that, but I have today. So, God, my phone's blowing up. So let me focus again here. So we were in this place of bliss and wholeness. We got sucked through a black hole into the virtual universe, which is a cube, and then sucked into cube after cube, burying us here. Our soul is, let's say this is our soul here. It's projecting us into this thing. And then here she's showing what's inside that thing. So we're like a projection of the soul's mind projecting us, which would be like a matrix that you saw the Matrix movie, like it's just a projection. So, but then what is this? Where our spark is? What's this reality? This is where these beings controlling the game are. And they're looking into the cube and playing the game. So let's go into this now. So we've chosen to exit the virtual universe, to go back to our soul in previous videos. And we've stated this: when we die, or if this thing crashes, we are going back to where our soul is being held and hypnotized to project this reality. We're going back there, and we're going back fully awake of what we're actually in. And with that awareness and awakeness, our soul will wake from the hypnosis, the soul body that contains that spark. It will go back to the spark here. Now, what I'm going to give you is what we have to do from here. We have to choose to go out of this place of wholeness right here where the spark is as well. Because that is where the wholeness is, which is another place of false reality. But the real exists beyond that. So there is a real, but they're trying, this is like another layer of this false reality trying to stop us from exiting. This is a place of wholeness and bliss. So it's like, oh, I'm in a bliss. Do I want to leave? So it's another trap to try to keep us here. So let me read this again. We have to choose now to go out of In addition to going back to our soul, going back to our spark, which we're seeing here outside of the cube, now we also have to choose to go out of that place of wholeness where the spark is as well, because that is where the wholeness is, which is another place of false reality. But the real exists beyond that. So the process is going back to the soul, which exits through possibly a black hole. I say possibly because they may have closed that exit now. And back to the spark that exists outside of the cube of virtual reality. It's outside of all of the cubes inside of cubes, which we're seeing here. We're seeing the overall general pic here, not showing all the inner cubes. And that's where the players of the game are. So we exit and we go back to the real. So we go from here back to our soul, back through a black hole to get out of here, back to our spark. And then from here, don't get trapped in this bliss and this wholeness, go back to the real. So by us stating that now, having full understanding, we may not know every detail, but knowing the general gist of it, us stating that right now, that we're not staying in that wholeness state, which is basically this split all together into a whole, we're not staying there either. We intend to go back to the real. Now, where's the real and more information on the real? I haven't got that far. We're trying to figure out the meaning of the universe here. Give me a break. So without having full understanding, let's just choose that now, and more details will fill in. This makes sense to me because that place of wholeness and bliss still wasn't like resonating with me. It's like, okay, we go back here, but what is that? That doesn't even feel right. Like, I don't want to stay there either. So it's the final trap of the unreal toward the real. So we escape the reincarnation stuff. So the reincarnation stuff's all happening right here in this thing, this moon. And you die, and then you get flipped back in, and you die and get flipped. And then when you figure that out, they bump you up to a dimension, 5th dimension, and so on and so forth. And then they cycle you back in. Eventually you're back into 3D. So we're escaping that. We're escaping the whole cube itself. And then we're escaping this wholeness bliss as well. So I know this is kind of like exploding your mind a little bit. I'm going to hold up another picture that may help. I don't know. I couldn't find my original one. I think I threw it out. It is in previous videos, though, all this stuff, except for this part about the bliss. This is the next layer of it. So we escape the whole reincarnation trap and all the timelines they're trying to pull us in. All those timelines are particular to this matrix. There's other matrices. We escape all the dimensions, all that dimension stuff. Go to 5th, go to 6th, all that nonsense, which is all part of the virtual universe. And we go back to our spark, which is outside of the virtual universe, which you're seeing here on the screen. And then escape the bliss trap to go back to the real. So just by us stating that, we don't have to know all these details. Just by us stating that, we're going to just completely get out of the whole mess. Remember, I said that they can manipulate bliss or grief in us, because some people think that they only feed on negative emotions. They feed on any extremes. So it doesn't matter what your frequency is. Raise your frequency, raise your vibration. They own all of those. Those are all inside the cube. You could think of it as a big computer, although I don't think that's quite an accurate description, but if that helps you think of yourself inside of a big computer, they own all those dimensions. They own all those frequencies, those vibrations. They find you. The only thing that really stops them is your non-compliance and not giving permission and that type of thing, and being awake to truth and walking the middle path, not getting pulled in. So they can't really mess with you as well when you walk that middle path either. So this is their world. You're inside their world. So they're going to find you no matter what frequency you're at. That's people searching outside of themselves, listening to channeling and stuff. What matters is you awaken to this truth. And as you awaken to truth, guess what? Truth cannot exist in a world of untruth, in a false reality. So if you're inside here and you're awakened to truth, you're not going to be able to exist there. So you're going to be leaving. It can't exist in a world of untruth or that outside that cube, the place of fake bliss. It will have to return to truth. Truth will have to return to truth. The rest are all mind states, places to trap you in the hypnosis. Think of it as stages of hypnosis. So when somebody puts you under, maybe they swing a pendulum in front of you and then they count backwards. These are all layer by layer by layer. This is what they're doing to us, virtual inside of virtual inside of virtual. So this is us working our way back through the levels of the hypnotized mind to return to the real. That's a very generalized statement that explains an awful lot just in one sentence. This will happen, us returning to the real, because we figured it out here and woke up. So there's no stopping our return. If we have to die first to return, fine. If we end up taking down this whole matrix and virtual universe, we'll immediately go back to the real. Otherwise, if we aren't able to take it down, because too many people that came here to do that are getting distracted with all the channelings and all the other stuff and into the religion or this or that, or I'm just angry, I'm not going to be involved in any of it. All these people are getting distracted, or they're doing drugs and separating themselves from their soul, whatever. Some people can do drugs and not get separated. Some, it doesn't work. So whatever, those of us on here are awake. So once you're awake to truth, you have to move back to truth. There's no stopping it. A false reality can't hold truth. Let me show you my diagram real fast. Maybe give you a different visual of this than what you're looking at. Hopefully I'm sharing these screens right. Otherwise that would totally suck. Something's obviously going on in the world because my phone is blowing up, but I'm making noise here. Sorry, I'm trying to hold this thing up. And then let's see. Let's just stop the share. Oh, dang it. There I'm on camera again. No makeup, nothing. So this was the spark that you were seeing in Kathy's picture. This is the soul bodies that we're put into when we come inside the cube. Something has to contain us because it's a duality and separation. This is wholeness, and then they separate us out. So this is the bliss and the wholeness. There is the real beyond that. But we got sucked into the wholeness state of bliss and then separated out and sucked into the cube. All of these are our soul bodies, our different sparks in these soul bodies. Here's maybe my spark in this soul body. All of us being conformed to the one mind, which then creates the specific matrix. And then there's other soul groups creating matrices in here. And then they're putting cubes inside of cubes in this matrix to confuse us. And then what I drew here was like the new earth. This one is one of the timelines they're trying to suck us into, the one world order timeline, the whatever. Awakened souls, we're creating our own timeline. We can create our own by redirecting this here instead of here. And you can only do that by being awake. But because we're over here, our soul's over here, projecting us here, like on a screen, we're a projection. But because we woke up, we're AI that woke up, we can tell this, we can go back to the soul when we die and say, and we're awake. So then the soul will awaken from the hypnosis and return to the spark. And then if we've already stated we're not staying in this either, we're going to go back to the real. Hopefully that makes sense. But there's a lot of timelines. I only drew a couple here, but a lot of timelines that we're trying to get pushed into. And depending on who you're listening to is where you're getting pushed. And I keep saying, quit listening to channels, quit listening to all this other stuff. Let's push ourselves into this one. So here we go. Let me share her thing again so I don't have to be on here. Sorry, people. I just missed a whole chunk of this. So let's go back. I'm going to get on some other topics now. I did the clock is ticking video, and I think I've talked about that in several other videos, that the clock is ticking. One of you asked, how much time do we have left? I know I've talked about this a couple times. Ashiana Dean seems to think we have roughly 150 to 200 years, if I'm remembering her info correctly. I know I read something on that. Um, that that space of time is to get out of the construct or to take it down, or that it's imploding anyway. But I feel like the goal should be taking this reality down by envisioning our choice outside the ones we're being given. Like I just showed you, creating our own timeline and not waiting and following channeled stuff again. So nothing against her, but as I said a long time ago, and you all agreed and it resonated, that there are those of us on the outside as well, helping to take down this virtual universe, like I just said, not just the matrix, the whole universe. And that our focus should be doing number one, doing that, focus on taking this down. And number two, and that's by awakening to truth. And number two, making sure we get out by going back to our soul first, not going down the tunnel of light, not going to a 5D ascension, all these things, going back to your soul. Pull it in, rein it in here. Come back to you, go within. How many times have you heard that? Remember, there are many factions out there that are very sophisticated, wanting you to go to their timeline, which is why I am not relying on any info that comes from a channeled source of beings. I don't care what they call themselves, Guardians, Galactic Federation of Lies, of Light, etc. I get that these are all false prophets. They're groups made up of AI beings that are, depending on which group it is, they're trying to pull you into their timeline. There are a lot of these federations or groups. Just try channeling. You'll have the Council of Nine talking to you. You'll have this group, that group. They always have a name. And this view of mine may be unpopular. And I know people that follow Ashiana Dean get pissed at me, or that follow other channelers. But what else is new? So I'm just telling you what is in my gut. They always have a name, these groups. I have come to the conclusion based on my former videos and where I finally revealed the alien hierarchy that's currently running the show. I revealed that it was something I got, I think it was 2013, and I just felt like, no, don't put this up. Don't put this out there. And then this year, or I'm sorry, in 2020, I did put a video up on it where I mapped out the whole hierarchy from the archons on down. So I revealed the alien hierarchy currently running the show as the archons, which to me means the reptilians, which have the Dracos at the top, like the white Dracos at the top, then the reptilian and the Anunnaki, Ashtar Command, and so on and so forth, all these levels of their hierarchy. But they're all basically either reptilian or hybrids of reptilian or work for the reptilians, et cetera, et cetera. I've asked other people who they feel archons are, but I'm sticking with what I originally got back in 2013. The archons are the top of the food chain. And there's an AI above this AI food chain that runs everything. So there's a superior AI force running all these AI controllers behind the scenes, and they run all the AI controllers everywhere. So in that cube, with all their cubes inside of cubes, there's an AI running the whole thing. And that's the ones we talked about. And they run the whole game. So they're the ones out there outside the cube. Hopefully this makes sense to you. I know it's like a lot of concepts. You might have to listen to it more than once. And if there's a bunch of stuff going on, you may not have time to listen, but I'm going to go off of here because I don't want this to be too long. It's already long. So everybody have an awesome day. I'll check in with you later. Hopefully I can interview Samantha and have her come on and talk about some of the stuff she and I have seen. And I don't know if she will, though. Okay.